Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning I bet to all of my friends. Okay, so for today's presentation, I would like to uh, define and give some differences between a sense analysis among general British and general American. This presentation to fulfill our assignment, our second assignment in English phonetic and phonology. So the audio that I have chosen is from the conversations of job between Kat and Kat, who is American English, who is using American English, while Jack is using British English. So basically, this conversation is about their first job and their work experience through their life. Okay, so let's watch the videos together. Basically, I have chosen for 1 until 3 minutes, but let's enjoy the video together.
Hi, welcome back. This is Jack from tofluency.com along with me, Kate.
Yeah, and today we are going to give you listening practice. And we do this by just having a natural conversation in English. And today our topic is going to be jobs.
Yes.
Jobs. So, be sure to check out the description for the words and phrases that we use in this lesson. And also check out tofluency.com because I have some great stuff there for you too. Okay, so today we're going to talk about jobs. We're going to talk about the first jobs that we've had, different types of jobs we've had. And also we're going to talk about our dream job, so we can start thinking about that now. But what was your first ever job?
So my first ever job was actually working at a sailing school.
Hi, I'm Liam Neeson. Children in Gaza, Ukraine, Lebanon, Haiti.
So eventually I became a sailing instructor, but in the beginning I was just a helper. So I'd help move boats and tell people who wanted to rent the boats what to do and where to go. So we rented kayaks and small sailboats and small catamarans, and that was the beginning of my working career.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 15.
Right. Was that like a summer job?
It was a summer job.
And is that common around that age in America?
I think that most, because we have a longer summer break than a lot of other countries, I think it's pretty common for American teenagers to have some kind of a summer job.
Right. So yours was working at a sailing school.
Yes.
But you didn't teach sailing at first?
No.
That came later?
That came later. I had to work my way up to that. Well, of course, my very first job was as a babysitter.
Yeah.
So I actually became certified to babysit, and I babysat for our neighbors' children for several years.
Yeah, growing up watching American movies, that seemed quite a common thing to babysit.
Yeah.
And what age were you when you did that?
I think that I got my certification when I was about 12. So probably from the time that I was 12 until, much later. It was not a regular job, but every couple weekends or so, I would do some babysitting.
And before, did you know how to sail before going to the sailing school?
Yes. So I actually started out as a student of the sailing school, which is how I learned to sail.
Very cool. And I've been to that sailing school before.
Okay, that's all. Okay, that's all for the video and the audio. So we can observe several elements that highlight the differences in their speech pattern and linguistic feature by looking at these key segments, which I would like to compare and contrast between the type of variation and also the impact of how this key segment, comparison of this key segment can affect their communication, their understanding, and the meaning. Okay, so firstly, these are some words that both Kate and Jack pronounce. We have both, job, babysitter, summer, later, first, catamaran, what, before, and hour. Okay, so these words you have to focus. Okay, firstly, systemic variation refer to basic differences in the sound system or phonology of American and British English. These include different sets of sounds, different rules for when and how sounds are used, and different phoneme inventory, which are the unique sound found in each variety. So the first one major difference is flapping. Flapping when a T sound appears between two vowel sounds, especially when the second vowel is in an unstressed syllable. That T often become a flap. Like in British, we have later, before, summer, babysitter, hour. So for American, flapping happen in word where the T is sounds like a soft D, like later, before, babysitter, like that. Okay. Next, we have for consonants, where for consonant also we have rhotic and non-rhotic. Like for General British, we already know that it is non-rhotic. For example, we have later, before, summer, babysitter, hour. For American, it is rhotic, where the R sound is pronounced like later, babysitter, before, summer, and hour. Okay, so what is the impact of this systemic variation? Well, its impact the language identity and prestige. Like for received pronunciation, which is General British, it used to be considered as standard, or we call it as prestigious accent worldwide. For formal or academic setting. On the other hand, for American English, it's not a global preferences where it used in media and also in global communication. These different accents may be associated with varying level of status, where it influences how certain dialects are perceived socially and professionally. It is a study by Fitteria 2023. Okay, next we have systemic variation in terms of vocal, which the first one is diphthong. Okay, so I have chosen the word boat because both of the speakers pronounce this word. So for General British, we can see that the vowel sound in both is like pronounced as O. It sounds like a boat. While for General American, the vowel sound in both in General American is pronounced like O. While for General British, it's ew. So yeah, spelling may stay the same, but sounds changes. Okay, for vowel differences, I would like to highlight for the effect or for the impact of the communication with we see the differences in pronunciation affect understanding, like the word what. So what is sometimes pronounced for General British, sometimes pronounced like oh, so what. So for General American, it's like what, long A, so what. Okay. And from study, according to Digrasa 2015, every vowel sound without exception has a different value in British English and American English. and it also influences perception and attitude. Okay. So looking at the lexical variation, okay, this is so important because it's different in vocabulary. So we see, let's see at the babysitting. So babysitting, this is common in both accents, but the usage of babysitting is quietly different. We can see that in the UK, babysitter is commonly used, but it sometimes can be less common. Where in UK, they most likely to use childminder or nanny, while in the US, babysitting is common term. So when you see that I am babysitting in the UK, they like it's quite not rude, but it's not common. Okay, so this is realizational variation. Okay, would like only to highlight the impact where realizational variation in this video can don't typically change the core meaning of the word. Where I already mentioned that British accent perceived as formal or educated or maybe proper, while for American accent it viewed as more friendly, approachable, or casual. Okay, let's see the examples. In the video, for instance, Jack might sound a bit slower in passing. So maybe it's like very polite. While for the cat, it's like too quickly or informally. So yeah, it sometimes create a sense of casual communication. So this is difference in the use of stress and stress relate. Firstly, we have lexical stress. Okay, this is dialogue from a cat. So eventually I became a sailing instructor. So here, cat strongly stressed eventually became an instructor. So it gives a rising and falling pattern. And it sounds like more dramatic. Okay, next for Jack, for general British, check out the description. So here, Jack like slightly reducing the giving a rhythmic. It means that it's more slower. Okay, for the intonation, this is the dialogue from Cat. So for American intonation, it's often used as rising and falling intonation, especially when you want to storytelling. So yeah, there are some differences between how Cat and Jack are pronounced. Okay, so we move on to rhythm. So for general American, it's more clearly like stress time rhythm. Where okay, for example, I think that most because we have a longer summer break. So you see, the example shows that it is fast delivery of rhythm because we can see that we have a between stress level. This is for the minute 1 minute 40 seconds. Okay, so this is example for general British uses of rhythm. So okay, I can conclude that Jack is more, more polite in his pace and don't rush. So yeah, they are balanced and Jack is more gentle. Okay, for the conclusion, we can observe that two accents affect listening comprehension, accent recognition, and speaking confidence. Especially us to understand both accents, it's quite difficult. But yeah, we can recognize well when we have learned more about this. So yeah, in order to be a best speaker, we have to choose a very appropriate pronunciation model that suit the context well. So yeah, this is the references that I got from this research. Okay, so thank you for your attention. So let's now move on to the question and answer session.
Hi, Shima. I would like to ask ask you one question. So my question is, how can I improve my ability to recognize when someone is using a British or American accent, especially in fast conversation?
Okay, that's a good question, Zaki. Okay, this is so general. So maybe you can listen to movie or podcast, or maybe show movie or podcast that show both British and American speakers. Like I used to read a conversation between F1 formulas drivers. So maybe both of them are British and the interviewer are American. So yeah, you have to practice regularly. You have to differentiate the rhythm and the sounds that changes in that conversation. Okay, thank you, Zaki.
Thank you.
Okay.
So,
Any other?
Shima, I have another question.
Yeah.
Are there any specific strategies that I can use to choose whether to follow a British or American accent in my own speech?
Okay, as we know, in Malaysia, we actually practice British English, right? So I think that back to your preferences. Like if you are more exposed to American, so yeah, just go on with the American accent. Otherwise, you have to focus on the British English. Okay. Okay, next.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay. My question is: can you give more example of the word that changes in between in pronunciation depending whether you're speaking British or American?
Okay. Sometimes, yeah, not only me actually, but all of us are actually mixing between general American and also general British. Sometimes we pronounce schedule, leisure, maybe, like that. Okay. Is there any question?
Yes, please. Shima, how important is it to match the rhythm and intonation of native speakers to sound more fluent in either British or American English?
Okay. I actually didn't explain too much about the effect or impact of rhythm and intonation, but here I can say that it is important for it to sound more clear, more natural. So the rhythm and intonation actually help the learner, which are us, to have a better understanding and to make our speech more smoothly. So yeah, you can understand better when your rhythm is not so monotonous, like when you present, when you talk, when you ask questions. So it's important to have very clear rhythm and intonation. Okay. Okay, so I think that's all for now. That's all for me, and thank you, everyone.